Welcome to the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. I am here today with Hannah Neagle. She is my coworker and my friend, and she has some great experiences that we're going to hear about today. She's a young girl, but she's an old soul, I would say, kind of. Like, you've really been there and kind of done that already.
Yeah.
So she was in the Peace Corps right after you got out of college, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking right before the show aired, and she was there for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I was like, wow, it's amazing. So we're going to hear all about that today. She's also an avid runner. You like to bike, too.
Mm-hmm.
She comes into the store with near-death experiences, sometimes stories. Like, I got hit by a car. You did get hit a couple times.
Almost.
We always joke that we're going to, like, wrap her in, you know, like, tinfoil so everybody can see her as she's riding her bike around. But yeah, so she's gonna tell us all about herself. So why don't you tell us your background, who you are, where you're from?
Sure. So I grew up in Vermont, and then I went away to boarding school for high school when I was 13.
What was that like?
It was really great. I loved it.
Because you get a mixed kind of review. Some people are like, oh, my parents couldn't handle me. I got sent away.
I mean, I went by choice. It was a family thing. Lots of aunts and uncles went. My grandparents went.
Oh, hey,
Mom
that's
and
cool.
Dad went for a little while. Yeah, so...
so it was like passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, and then when it was my sisters, I have 2 older sisters, and when it was their time to go to high school, it was up to them. They could choose whether or not they wanted to stay and go to the local public school or go away to boarding school. And then we all just kind of chose to go to boarding school. But it's really busy. I didn't even have time to be homesick or anything because you have so many sports and study halls and time with friends and you're doing all the time.
So you didn't miss out not being home?
Maybe. I didn't get my license until I was 18.
That's okay, neither did I.
We didn't really have a real prom or anything like that, but I think there were plenty more experiences that I took advantage of, and it was just an extremely diverse environment, and the campus is gorgeous.
And I can imagine, like, you're more independent, too, when you come out, and then you go to college, and the transition's a lot easier than being used to mom and dad cooking for you and cleaning all the time.
High school was a challenge for me academically, and then it made college just kind of a walk in the park.
That was like me, too.
So,
I told my dad, I'm like, I think Iolani was harder than my grad school right now, and I get really frustrated. I'm like, I feel like I'm going backwards, but good. It's good.
It's a challenge.
So then you went to college.
Yeah, so I went to a small college in Virginia so I could play D3 soccer. And that was an interesting cross-cultural experience coming from liberal Vermont and Massachusetts from boarding school down to live in the South.
What were the differences that you experienced?
Little things like food and accent, and then saying sir and ma'am all the time. And, but I went down there and I played soccer for a year and a half.
And what was that experience like?
It was great. It was fun to be part of the team.
You say that. I can see some reserve too, because we've talked about our college experience, and we both had some negative aspects that occurred.
It's different because it's serious in a different way than I had played travel soccer growing up, and for the state team, and a little bit of semi-professional soccer as well. And then playing for college, it was intense, but in a different way. So I ended up getting injured, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And I found my way into a really great job on campus. I worked in the community services office. So I would lead student trips to West Virginia, to DC for service.
Oh, that's neat.
We even went to Nicaragua 2 years in a row and did service trips.
And what would you do on the service trips?
A lot of it was, so the Nicaragua stuff was definitely a cross-cultural experience, and we raised some money for a local school as well. On that trip, my boss for that job is a returned Peace Corps volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what kind of like transgressed you into being one to be in the Peace Corps? Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I never really knew what the Peace Corps was before Jesse, the guy I worked for. And then, he'd describe all these experiences he had, and I still didn't really understand what it was. I was like, so you go and you live in this other country, and then you just live in this village, and what do you do? And it
Could you ever
wasn't-
see yourself doing it, or you were just kind of like,
Yeah, I could. I wanted to travel so bad. Coming from small Vermont, I think, I always just wanted to get out and experience new experiences and meet new people and travel, yeah.
so then you graduated and you went directly into the Peace Corps, or you went?
Yeah. I graduated in May and I went to the Peace Corps on July 4th.
Ooh.
The following, 2 months later. So we had a brief training in Philadelphia, and they shot us up with a bunch of shots and sent us over there.
Were you nervous or scared, or what was like your first? Because I can
Yeah.
imagine a lot of people. I know a lot of people like want to go and they want to travel and they want to help others, and
Yeah.
it's like, how do you get involved and what do I expect? And
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
It was a lot scarier than it actually was. And I think it was just the not knowing what this other place that you're going to commit 2 years of your life to live in, not knowing anything about it other than basic research and stuff.
Did you get to pick where you wanted to go, or like that year they were going to Mali and so that's where you went?
So when I was applying to the Peace Corps, you could request a region. You
Okay.
would request your top 1, 2, and 3.
What did you pick?
And I picked Sub-Saharan Africa,
Okay.
the Middle East and North Africa, and I think the South Pacific. So really large regions.
Yeah.
There are so many countries in those regions. And the only place I didn't want to go to was Eastern Europe because of the winter. And that was Peace Corps' first offer for me. They wanted to send me to Eastern Europe.
You're like, no way.
I asked for a second offer just because I don't really appreciate the snow as much as a lot of
Yeah,
other
because
people
you grew
do.
up in Vermont.
Yeah. So, though I'd love to travel to Eastern Europe, I'm sure it's a wonderful place. But, so yeah, then my second offer was West Africa, and I accepted, and then I had to wait a few weeks until I heard what country I'd be going to. And when I was told that I was going to Mali, I actually didn't know where it was.
I don't know where it is. Where is it?
Yeah, so it's on the northwest part of the continent,
Okay.
and Mali's landlocked.
Oh,
So half
wow.
the country's in the Sahara and half is in the Sahel. Yeah.
That's
So,
interesting.
but the training process was great because Peace Corps training is some of the best cross-cultural training in the world. I went through health, cross-cultural, language, my actual job, so water and sanitation training.
So you did that all before you got there, or when you got there?
When I got there.
Okay.
And what they do is they push you off little cliffs. So we started at a training village, and then we went out and we did training as a group, and we lived in different areas around the capital. And every day we'd do language training for about 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And then every week or every other week we would do water and sanitation training, either where the village we were staying at for training or back at the Peace Corps training site.
What is water and sanitation? What does that look like? What you were
Yeah,
doing? What did that involve?
Yeah, so I learned all about waterborne diseases, life cycles of different things like parasites and malaria, how to prevent them, the best ways and the easiest ways and the cheapest ways to prevent waterborne diseases. And
Can you describe some of those ways? I'm interested. If you can remember any of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hand washing with soap
Okay.
is one of them. Yeah, boiling drinking water, filtering drinking water, or the easiest way for me was I filtered my drinking water and then would do two drops of bleach per liter.
Okay.
Drink all my water.
And that's okay to drink bleach?
Yep. Yeah. So it's similar to how we
Purify our water here.
Yeah.
We just don't know that.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And you said that a lot of people were sick a lot, that they would get diarrhea and throw up. And
Yeah. Yeah, it comes with the territory. I wasn't sick that often. In the very beginning, I got malaria. And I think it was just because it was within the first couple weeks of being there and my medicine hadn't fully
Kicked in.
the prophylaxis that you take, hadn't kicked in.
What was that like?
Painful. It's cyclical. So every day at the same time, you come down with flu-like symptoms.
Oh my god.
But as soon as you start taking the medicine, it starts to go away.
Okay.
Yeah. But Peace Corps had, at least in Mali, we had amazing medical officers, doctors that would take care of us. And I always felt safe. even in village, that if I came down with some nasty flu or virus or something, they would
be able to help you.
Help me, and my villagers would take care of me as well.
What was that like, being with a different culture and being like submerged into their lives?
Yeah. So sometimes I describe it as the first year of Peace Corps was the longest year of my life.
Why?
And I think it was because I just couldn't communicate on a level that we are used to. So I couldn't have a full conversation with people. So it's lonely, and it's not because you're not around people, because I was around my friends and the people I worked with in my village every day, all day, all the time. But I was learning the language, so it was really hard.
And what is their language? Do you want to like demo what their language is like?
Okay.
Just say some words. Because Hannah will say random words in the store, and I'm like, what is that?
The
What are you
language
saying?
is Bambara.
Yeah.
So, de Bamanakamen. I speak Bambara. It was relatively easy to learn. Actually, when I got to my villagers spoke Minnetonka, a different language, which I hadn't learned. But
So
the
there's
majority,
different like dialects of Bambara.
yeah,
So it's kind of like Chinese, in a way.
almost.
Where there's like
It sounded
Cantonese
tonal
and
to me.
Okay.
Minnetonka, yeah. I was later told that it wasn't, but I still, to this day, think it was a pretty like tonal language.
What does tonal mean?
So like Mandarin has tones, 4 tones. So
Okay.
you rise and fall, the
Or
words you say fall or they rise.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
I'm
learned the
learning so
basics of
much.
Minnetonka, just the greetings for politeness. Greetings, saying hi, how are you, how's your family? Every time you see someone is really respectful in Mali. And it's nice too, because people take the minute to stop and say, hey, how are your kids doing? Or
And they really care.
how's your wife? How's your farming going? Yeah, and they care. So I learned the greetings in Minnetonka and some basics, and then otherwise I spoke Bambara. But it was hard for a long time because my host mom only spoke Minnetonka, and then because more men have the opportunity to go to school in Mali than women often didn't learn how to speak Bambara or could speak just very little. So I could communicate with the men and not as much with the women in my town.
Did you feel like any resentment or anything towards like how the situation was there, how men had more opportunity than women?
Not resentment, and I felt, generally speaking, like a lot of the women, my friends, my host mom, they were happy with their situation, and it was hard maybe for everyone that they're farmers, and it's hard work every day, all day. We would definitely joke, or I'd joke with the men that I worked with. I'd say, oh, what work do the men do? And they'd be like, oh, we farm and we take care of the finances. They're like, oh, what work do the women do? And they'd say, oh, well, they have kids, they raise the kids, they cook the food, they clean, they farm, they get wood.
They do everything.
So they do a lot of work, yeah. But still, you know, they're pretty happy, and it was always a topic that I had with my friends in town. But it was just kind of the way that things are.
Right, and you can't change anything, and it's just accepted.
Yeah.
So from their culture, did you gain like a new insight or appreciation for the way things are here, or did you kind of like the way things were there in Mali?
A little bit of both, because, well, chances are I was born here, so I'm lucky I've had all these opportunities to go to boarding school and college and graduate school. Whereas if I had been
we missed your graduate school experience.
Yeah. If I had been born in Mali, I probably wouldn't have had the chance to do any of that. Just basically looking at the statistics, men have
more of the opportunity.
Yeah. So.
But what about culturally, and like, it seems like it's a close-knit community where everybody helps everybody.
Yeah. So.
And we're not like that really
in
the U.S.
Yeah, so it's communal living, everyone, it takes a village to raise a child. The cliche is true. Sometimes I would need a break, or especially the first year when I didn't speak the language as well, it's just so tiring that I'd want to go, kind of like read a book and chill out for a little while, and no one really understood. They'd be like, are you sick? Are you tired? Are you going, oh, you're going to sleep. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to go read a book for a little while, and they'd be like, okay, that's weird.
With that, we're going to take a short commercial. I'm
Okay.
loving this. This is such a great experience. I actually get to sit down and talk to Hannah because we're normally busy on the floor and we don't get to have conversations like this.
Yeah.
So, this is the Empower Hour. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. I'm here with Hannah Neagle, and we will be back in a few.
Aloha, I'm Kili'i Akina, president of the Grassroots Institute and host on Hannah Kako, a weekly program on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. Hannah Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right and what's good and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Hannah Kako. Every week we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to ThinkTech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the ThinkTech Hawaii Broadcast Network. We're Hannah Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Josh Green. I'm a senator from the Big Island in the ER position. Every other Tuesday, I get to host a show here on the ThinkTech program about healthcare. We call it Healthcare in Hawaii. It's really enjoyable for me to bring other healthcare leaders from around the state to talk about our pressing issues. Hawaii has long been the health state, but we need to keep up the momentum, the inertia, and with your help and with your participation, we can come and share all of the big issues that are pressing day to day. Thanks for joining us every Tuesday, alternating weeks from 2 to 2:45.
Okay. Welcome back to the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. I'm here with Hannah Neagle. We're talking about her experience in the Peace Corps. But first, we got a tweet. This is my first tweet of Showtime. We were really excited when we heard about it. Do you want to read it? ThinkTech Hi. Did Hannah incorporate running into any of her projects in the Peace Corps? Where were there cultural challenges to being a runner there? Oh, that's
Sure.
a great question.
Yeah. The greatest challenge I faced as a runner was the heat. It took me a year to get used to the heat. I could not even run a mile.
Is it dry
first.
heat, or what is the, I mean, because it's pretty hot here.
Yeah, so it's dry during dry season, and they have a monsoon season as well, so, heavy rains and lots of flooding. So let's see. I didn't incorporate any of my Peace Corps projects, running into any of those Peace Corps projects, but I did incorporate soccer.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I played soccer with the boys in my village almost every day.
Was it a sport they knew of or not really?
Yeah, they're really good too. They schooled me every time. Those little guys were fast. And then the girls started playing with me, which was so great. And one day I was really tired, and so I was going to just watch. And the girls decided that they'd just watch too. And so I realized that they didn't want to play unless I was out there with them.
Because Hannah's the empowering type. That's why she's on this show.
So I'd try to play so that the girls would have a chance to go out and play. And my dad would send me soccer balls in the mail. And, they're really expensive in Mali. So I did that for a little while, and then I also had this city that I would go to use internet to do project work and send it into Peace Corps and go to the post office and go to the bank.
How far away was that from where you were? Sorry to cut you off.
About 60 miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So
it was like a day thing.
Yeah, it was 20 kilometers off the main road. Sometimes I'd bike it, and that was a long day, but I'd have Coca-Cola along the way. But otherwise, I'd bike out a village, and I could catch a car or a bus going into the city. So it's a small city. But so I had a friend there that's a teacher, great guy, Saggio, and we'd always talked about soccer, and he said, hey, the girls play soccer at my school. Why don't you come play with them and coach them? And so I did a little coaching with those girls, and right at the school. And then we put on a really fun game in the stadium.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, so they kind of did like a little raffle to see which two teams could play, so it would be fair. And then we got some uniforms and some extra balls, and it was just really great because it was in this beautiful brand new stadium in Coachella in the city that they would not have had access to otherwise.
Right, because they would have never gotten that opportunity because they were girls.
So it was, or just, young as well.
Young.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have like a most memorable moment from coaching them or anything like that?
The end of the game, they tied the entire game, and the end came down to penalty kicks. And I think the most memorable moment was just at the end of the game when the one team won and the other team lost. They were both so excited just to have been there, and so there was just a huge celebration after the game. So that was really fun. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I incorporated soccer into one of my projects.
And running wise, did you? I mean, because we didn't really talk about that yet. Did you?
Yeah.
When did you start running?
Oh yeah. So.
And thanks for the tweet, by the way. That was a great question.
I started running. So I think I started running because I had a site mate who, from the very beginning, another Peace Corps volunteer who lived in a couple towns over from me, she would run every single day, and I always thought to myself, all right, if Jen can do this, and she probably ran 10 miles a day, I can do this. And so I started little by little just going out and running, and it was fun because it was just through the Sahel, through the bush kind of area, and
did you have to worry about any wildlife or anything like that? I know I sound like a typical American, like, are there cheetahs? But
yeah, no, there wasn't any. There were great birds. There wasn't much wildlife though.
Okay.
Hippos in the rivers far away. Yeah.
Okay.
But out in the brush, there were kids herding the cows and the goats and stuff, but mostly the cows.
Okay.
And so when they'd see me, they'd kind of run over and run with me.
Oh.
But I did have to worry about cows because they're kind of like the Texas Longhorn style, and cows are very like fight or flight.
Yeah, you spook them and
so
they
you
just
don't
freak
know
out.
if they're gonna charge you or
Right.
not. Yeah. So I had a few instances with cows that I didn't appreciate, but yeah.
And was the culture there? Did they have running in their culture at all? Because a lot of great runners come out of Africa.
Yeah, not as much
in that area.
Yeah, in my village because everyone was farming.
Okay.
And so they were doing manual labor.
And they were
all
tired
day,
already.
And they were tired.
They didn't want to go run extra.
Yeah. So they'd be like, "Why are you running?" I was like, "Well, I didn't farm today. I have to exercise." I'm like,
Did they understand that? I can imagine. Okay, they did.
Yeah, as sport, basketball's a big sport in Mali for women.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
For
and
women.
kids play soccer and yeah. Yeah.
What were some other differences that you saw between like being an American or living in America and then being in Mali? I know it's been a while and I'm putting you on the spot.
No.
Hannah was saying earlier that she
no.
craves the food there.
Yeah. Yeah. At first, the food difference was really difficult, and then I got used to it, and then I started liking it, and now I miss it a lot, just because it's completely different. Yeah. So a lot of porridges and peanut sauces, which are really good, and onion sauces.
And do they make things from like staples they have, or?
Yeah, so a lot of millet-based, sorghum-based food. Rice was always a treat. Lots of meat on the holidays.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And Hannah actually wanted to go back. She was thinking of leaving us.
Yeah.
But we were saying good thing that she didn't, because do you want to explain why it's kind of a good thing you didn't?
Yeah. Well, it was a really hard decision. I really wanted to go back, and Peace Corps closed in Mali for a little while, and it was going to reopen, or it did reopen in the southern part of the country.
And why did you really want to go back?
I just had such a great experience that I missed it. I loved it so much. It's a second part of me. It's a second home. And I think I'll go back someday for sure. But it just wasn't quite the right time. And I was actually most concerned about leaving, starting a new job over there, in the midst of all the Ebola stuff that was going on, and having to leave and come back. I wasn't as concerned. My parents were freaked out. I wasn't as concerned about getting Ebola as I was going over and then maybe having to leave
Having
away.
to send you directly back home.
Yeah.
Which would have been a big disappointment and kind of a waste of time in a way.
Yeah, but it's, so Peace Corps response is there now. So I think there are 7 or 8 men and women there working with NGOs.
What's an
and
NGO?
government agencies, a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
Yeah. So doing work and kind of paving the way to reopen the country again. And luckily, Mali was not hit with Ebola hard
Oh, that's great.
at all. Yeah. So there are a couple cases, but it was kept
Pretty.
low. Yeah.
So how do you get involved in the Peace Corps? If somebody wants to
Yeah.
join, what are the steps to do that?
Yeah.
Because I watched you go through those steps, kind of. I
Yeah.
hear about them all the time.
Yeah, and it's changed a little bit. When I first applied, it was a lot of interviewing and essay writing, and they've actually changed the process for applying, so it's much more abbreviated.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
We have to
and-
tell the story too when you went to reapply and you sent out your passport and then you went to go home.
Oh, yeah.
And you did it. We should tell that after.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I always thought it was a process just to try to see if you'll go through such a rigorous application process and want to go that bad that you'll do it, because you first apply online and then you have an interview. After the interview, if you're accepted or not, you go through a whole security clearance and, well, kind of a minor security clearance, but a security clearance and a really rigorous health clearance as
Checkup.
well. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's kind of a waiting period. But now Peace Corps seems to be expanding, and I think they're wanting to get people in the right spot as soon as possible. So I think that you can actually apply for a specific position in a country and know if you'll get that or not.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to look into doing that, you think?
Well, so I was looking into Peace Corps Response. It's a program for returned Peace Corps volunteers. And I think every now and then they accept professionals as well. So nurses or
Oh,
engineers
wow.
if they need specific job skills. You don't necessarily have to be a returned Peace Corps volunteer to do Peace Corps Response. And Peace Corps Response is usually either reopening a country that was opened and closed in the past, or opening a country that's never had Peace Corps before.
And how do you decide on a country? How do they decide what countries? Do they look at like rates of things, or who needs the most help?
It's actually pretty cool. Every country that Peace Corps works in, they're invited by the government and by the people to come and work in the country.
Oh, wow.
So it's an invitation. Yeah. So it's that they want the cross-cultural exchange, or certain skills and abilities that volunteers might have to share. Yeah.
So when you were in Mali, you guys
Mhm.
concentrated on the water. So what did
Yeah.
that look like on a daily, like what did you guys do on a daily basis? Were you
Yeah.
teaching them how to clean water, or?
Well, so I was the third volunteer in my village, and I worked with this great guy, one of my good friends, Tijiani, and he had gone to all these Peace Corps trainings with volunteers in the past, and so he was really well versed. So our big project that we worked on in our village was improving wells in our village. All of our wells were hand dug holes, and you'd throw the bag for the water down and pull it up and put it in your bucket, and that's how you take water. And a lot of them were flushed to the ground, which means that all that dirty water during rainy season,
Would go in there.
yeah, or animals, or it can be unsafe for children as well.
Ew.
Yeah, so we would dig deeper and around the hole, and we'd line the well with cement bricks
Okay.
so that the water couldn't, none of the dirty water could get in through the sides or through the top, and then we put a nice top with a lid on top so that the water would stay clean, and you can shock it as well. So we'd shock the water with bleach to clean it, and then you wait a couple days, and then you can use the water to drink.
Oh, we got the water expert over
We do
here.
that, yeah.
We're going to take another short commercial break, I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. This is the Empower Hour. I'm here with Hannah Neagle. She's teaching us so much. We're having a great time. And we'll be back in a few. Thanks.
Aloha, my name is Paul Jackson, better known as PJ, and my local interest is in sports. I have my own sports radio show at KWAI AM 1080 that you can stream live. I also have my own website, pjsportsradio.com. We have live guests in studio, and we talk about discussions and topics that everyone wants to know locally here on the islands. We cover everything from surfing to basketball to whatever's going on locally, sports-wise. We try to do our best and cover the topics in depth as much as we can. Once again, thank you for joining PJ here on Hawaii Sports Update. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Hunter Hevlin, host of Sustainable Hawaii here at ThinkTech Hawaii. You can tune in every week on Thursday at 2 p.m. to see interviews with sustainability professionals from around the state and even further abroad, learning about activities with water management, food security, waste management, and a whole host of other fascinating opportunities to get engaged with making a greener island. So if you're interested in making the transition from consuming individuals to communities of producers, check us out every Thursday.
Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. This is the Empower Hour. We're here being empowered by Hannah Neagle. She went to Mali and helped a bunch of people there and gained some great experience and knowledge along the way. We were just talking about the time she had given her passport to the Peace Corps because she was reapplying, and then you went home, right? And you forgot it. Like,
Yeah.
well, you needed it. You went,
Yeah.
Okay, you tell the story. It's probably a lot funnier than it's kind of like an oh no story.
Growing up in Vermont, all you needed was an ID to go across the border. And often my family, we'd go up to Montreal for the day just to check it out and spend time in Canada. It's like 45 minutes away from where my parents live in northern Vermont. So I was in the process of applying to go back into the Peace Corps as a Peace Corps response volunteer, and my passport was in Washington, D.C. with them so that I could get a new government-issued passport. And I went to the airport to go home.
She was so excited
from Hawaii
to go home. You were so
holiday,
excited.
and I got to the security counter, and I was trying to get my tickets, and it kept asking me to scan my passport. And finally, I looked up at the guy, the ticket agent, and I was like, "What is going on? Why is it asking for my passport?" And he's like, "You do know Montreal is in another country, right? You're flying into Montreal." I was like, "Oh." So I actually said to the guy, "Oh my goodness, my passport's in Washington, D.C." And he was so nice. He kind of laughed at me because it was a stupid mistake. And then he said, "I have a heart for Peace Corps volunteers." And he went around the corner and he started typing. He was like, "I can get you into Newark." And I was like, "Okay, Newark, okay. I can like rent a car, or get on a bus or a train." I was like, "That's pretty far. It's like 9 hours from Vermont."
We were sitting there like brainstorming what we were
Yeah.
gonna do. I was like internally worried. I was laying there like, "Oh my gosh, is she gonna get home?" Because you were so excited to get home.
Yeah, so he rerouted me to Boston, which was really great. So thanks, Peace Corps.
Thanks, Peace Corps, for helping.
That would have been an expensive ticket from Hawaii to Vermont.
That would have been horrible.
Yeah.
So what else is something that you took from doing the Peace Corps, something that stuck with you, or?
Oh my gosh. You know, I always think that I took away way more than I was able to give. You go, at least I went to Mali, I was so hopeful and excited to make change in the world. And,
How old were you when you went?
I must have been 22,
Okay.
23, yeah. But I did some great projects, and I definitely did some interesting cross-cultural sharing, and but I always feel like I took away way more than I was able to give. The people that I lived with in my village were so giving and so generous, and they fed me for 2.5 years, and they showed me everything, and they just wanted to chat and laugh all the time, and so it was such an easy place to live.
Is it very family oriented, or?
Yeah. Families are just together all day long and hanging out, cooking and dancing and music are really, really favorite pastimes in Maui.
Is that something you guys did at night or just all day? Or
Yeah, so lots of baptisms for babies and
Wow.
blessings and weddings, all sorts of
just celebrations all around.
Even for funerals, lots
They
of
celebrated.
dancing, morning / celebration. Yeah.
And what was the sickness rate in your village? Were people
Yeah.
sick a lot, or because I don't think a lot of people understand like the medical aspect of. I mean, you say you
Yeah.
felt safe, but I know for me, I was sitting here
Yeah.
going, "Oh my gosh, I would be like, I'm gonna catch that." I'd be like, you know, a germaphobe.
Oh.
I think I'd freak out a little bit.
Well, I just got really upset when flies would land on my food, pretty much. But no, I mean, people were pretty healthy, but it was a little bit heartbreaking during rainy season because people would just get sick, and there wasn't as much money or access to medicine as people could have had, as much as we have here. So, you know, when I got malaria during training, I was near the Capitol and I was with Peace Corps still, and in the Peace Corps they paid for my malaria drugs, and they're expensive. So definitely malaria and waterborne diseases are big causes of illness.
So, like towns that weren't by the capital or weren't by places that had hospitals,
Yeah.
they either have to travel to go get their shots or get treatment, or they just don't get it. And how do they, what if they don't have the money to pay for it? Can they barter, or like how does that work out?
Yeah, people would definitely try to sell their food if they had extra, or, you know, they could sell a bag of millet, or they would borrow from a friend or family member. My host family, I had a host brother that I didn't know very well because he was an adult and he lived in another village. He works as a teacher, and so that he has a pretty good income, and so he would send money back to the family. And he actually bought my host sister, a bike.
Oh, wow.
Because the middle school was in the next town over, so for the 3 or 4 mile bike ride, she could bike it instead of having to walk to go to school. And then at some point he bought my host brother a moped.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's really helpful if, you know, you have a family member or a cousin that works in the Capitol or as a teacher or owns a shop where they can make some money for times like that when farming isn't quite enough for an income.
So this is kind of like a hard question,
Mm-hmm.
but if you could pick to either live in Maui with your whole family and all the people you love, or live in the U.S., what would you pick?
The U.S., and I think it's just because one of my biggest takeaways coming out of Maui was an emphasis on family and friends. And I'm from here, so this is where my actually family and friends are. So it'd be definitely the U.S. because of family and friends. But I love to share Maui with other people, and I was lucky enough to have my sister and brother-in-law visit me, and some good friends as well. So
yeah, she talks about it all the time in the store, and I'm always like, ugh, and she'll speak Bambara, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know what you're saying, but I like hearing it.
Yeah.
We only have 5 minutes left, so do you want to talk about your running? Because Hannah's an avid runner, and she
Sure.
won't tell you. She doesn't let you know, and then you go running with her, and you're like, oh my gosh, like she just.
Yeah. So let's see. As of late,
She did hurt her back though.
yeah. So I'm taking a couple weeks off, and hopefully it'll pull back together soon.
And our new
But-
bucket list plan is to run from Hawaii Kai to Kailua.
Yeah.
So that
We
will
can do
happen
it.
eventually. I think we can do it.
With lots of lights on our heads blinking.
Yeah, so that we don't get hit
Yeah.
by something.
Yeah.
We really want to do it when it's gonna have a sunrise. So we'll probably do it really early in the morning when it's really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, so for running right now, I've been really excited because I just started with Lululemon, a run club on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, tell them what time it is.
Yeah, so it's at 5:45 and we run at 6. And it's just super fun. We do a couple different routes, and sometimes we get smoothies
And
or
all levels
treats
are
after.
welcome, right?
Yep. And we do 3 to 5 miles, normally around 3. Yeah, so that's been really great, really fun on Wednesdays.
And they meet at,
Oh,
did we say that?
the Queen Capulani statue
Okay, there we
at
go.
Capulani Park.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've had a lot of great fun returners, and some people on vacation come out and join us as well. So yeah. And then I just started running with the Windward Training Freaks in Kailua. And we do track workouts with
Oh, see, I
Susie
didn't know that either.
Stevens.
I don't
She's
know.
a really fast runner.
Who is she?
Woman runner on Oahu.
Okay.
So she's been kicking my butt with these track workouts, and I really felt the speed in my last race, which was so fun because they're hard, but they're shorter workouts, and so yeah. And soon I'm going to be training for the Honolulu Marathon in December.
And you did it last year?
The year before.
The year before. Has it been that
Yeah.
long?
Yeah. I
Oh
did
my
it.
gosh, because we both did it together.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it's been that long ago.
Yeah.
And then you started doing trail running too. You started kind of doing ultras, right?
Not quite ultras yet.
Dabbing into them.
Yeah, at some point I definitely want to do those. It's such, road running and trail running are opposites almost.
In what way?
Well, obviously like the terrain, but mentality as well. A lot of trail runners are happy and go lucky and just, I guess, not that road runners aren't, but very chill about the experience.
The culture is completely different.
Yeah.
And Michael Garrison, if you watched my episode last weekend, he said the same thing. He's like, we just get out there and we run and have a good time and relax. We're not like, I gotta hit this mile at 6 minutes in order to make da da da. He's like, whatever.
It's almost like you have to run that way too because
You're running forever.
Yeah.
If you didn't,
well, and you're running up and down mountains and hills
Yeah.
and stuff, so you can't keep your 6 minute pace when you're going up a mountain.
no, and that's what he said. You
Yeah.
just kind of got to take it as what it is and plan as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's fun. We just eat and then, drink beers or whatever and enjoy it. And but I also love road running and speed and staying on pace, and it's very meditative. Yeah.
It is, and it's a different culture too. It's
Yeah.
good to kind of get the different cultures of running, because if not, you get a little bit bored.
Yeah.
I know when I was in high school and we ran track, I was like, you guys are getting boring. I need a new, and then you go into cross country and everybody's completely different. And yeah, it's weird how different runners, different people that prefer different distances are their personalities are different. Somebody should do a psychological evaluation on that. That'd be really interesting. So is there anything you want to leave us with, Hannah? Any like burning things you need to tell us, or things about Peace Corps that you want to leave people with?
I guess the only thing I'd say about Peace Corps is do it. It was the best experience of my life. I learned so much about myself, and yeah, I would recommend it to anyone who thinks that they would be interested in that type of lifestyle for 2 years.
And tell them that Hannah sent you. No.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it, guys. We're going to wrap up. Have a great Aloha Friday. I have to remember what day it is. Gosh, the weeks are just like, they fly by and then they slow down. It's kind of depressing some days, but we made it. Yay, it's the weekend. So have a great Aloha Friday. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. This is the Empower Hour. I'm here with Hannah Neagle. She was great, really empowering. Thank you for telling us about the Peace Corps.
Thanks.
And go out and join, guys, and get involved in your community. I can't talk today. Get involved in your community. Have a good one. I will see you next week. Aloha.